When people begin to whisper that you are dangerously intelligent, it's not really about intelligence in the traditional sense of grades, degrees, or technical skill. It's about awareness. It's about the way your mind cuts through illusions and pretenses that others rely on to feel safe in their little worlds. You've become the kind of person who doesn't just see the surface of things, you see beneath them. You recognize the patterns, the motives, the hidden energies that shape people's actions and words. This level of perception unsettles people because it exposes what they try so hard to hide, even from themselves. They call it dangerous because it threatens the masks they wear. When you are the chosen one, your intelligence doesn't operate from ego, but from clarity. You aren't trying to prove you're smarter than anyone else, you simply understand how things work, how energies shift, and how truth reveals itself in silence more than in speech. This kind of mind cannot be manipulated easily, and that is what makes people nervous. They notice you don't react to things the way others do. When someone tries to provoke you, you stay calm. When people gossip or plot, you remain unbothered. That composure is intimidating because most people's power depends on emotional reaction. If they can make you angry, confused, or defensive, they feel they can control you. But your awareness disarms them. You see their games before they play them. You know what they're about to do before they even decide to do it. That insight makes them feel exposed, like their usual tricks have no effect on you. They start to question how you know so much, why you can read the room so easily, and why you always seem 2 steps ahead. It's because your intelligence isn't about information, it's about intuition sharpened by experience, a deep inner knowing that cuts through deception and performance. People who live in illusions fear those who live in truth. When you begin to awaken, to truly see beyond appearances, you naturally disturb those who are still asleep. They can sense your presence shifting things, and they talk about it. They say you're too much, that you're calculating, that you think too deeply. But what they're really saying is that you make them uncomfortable. You reflect back the truth they avoid. You question things they accept blindly. You refuse to follow the crowd, and that makes them feel insecure about their own complacency. The chosen one's intelligence isn't loud or boastful, it's silent, observant, and precise. It doesn't need validation because it's grounded in awareness, not approval. That's why people call it dangerous, because it operates from power, not permission. When your intelligence awakens, you begin to move differently. You notice how people reveal themselves in what they don't say. You watch patterns repeat and learn from them instead of ignoring them. You stop giving your energy to people who drain it, and that makes those same people resent you. They were used to you being accessible, easy to manipulate, or eager to please. But now that you see through their intentions, you've become a mirror they can't lie to. That reflection feels threatening to those who live off deception. They start to label you cold, distant, arrogant, mysterious because they can't control how you perceive them anymore. But you know it's not arrogance. It's awareness. You've simply stopped giving your energy to illusions. There's something magnetic about a person who knows too much but doesn't say everything. Your silence carries power because people sense that you could expose them if you wanted to. That quiet intelligence makes them tread carefully around you. They gossip to make sense of you, to reduce your depth into something they can define. They call you dangerous because they can't categorize you. You don't fit into the roles they expect. You're not predictable, you're not easily influenced, and you don't seek their approval. You think for yourself, move with purpose, and speak only when necessary. That combination confuses those who rely on superficial charm and manipulation to feel powerful. Your intelligence has become a mirror of truth in a world built on lies. You can feel people's intentions through their energy before they even express them. You notice inconsistencies between their words and actions. You pick up on patterns of manipulation, deceit, or insecurity that others miss. This awareness makes you a threat to systems, to groups, to people who thrive on control. They sense that you can't be fooled, so they try to make you the problem. They spread rumors, they twist narratives, they frame your insight as arrogance or danger. But beneath all that noise is fear that you see them for who they really are. As the chosen one, your intelligence often isolates you. You can't unsee what you've seen, and you can't pretend not to know what you know. You walk through environments feeling every undercurrent of energy, every unspoken truth. People may smile at you, but you sense their envy or discomfort. They may praise you publicly but criticize you privately. They may try to undermine your confidence subtly because your awareness makes them feel small. But even through that, your intelligence becomes your protection. You recognize manipulation before it traps you. You sense opportunities before they appear. You understand timing, energy, and silence as forms of strategy. Being dangerously intelligent means your mind operates on frequencies most people aren't tuned into. You read reality like a code. What others see as coincidence, you recognize as synchronicity. What others call intuition, you treat as insight. You process energy, not just information. You think beyond emotion and ego, and that's why you navigate chaos with calm. When others panic, you observe. When others overreact, you calculate. That composure, that ability to remain grounded while everyone else is losing control, is what makes your intelligence appear dangerous. It's not that you intend to harm anyone, it's that you've mastered your awareness to the point that others can't manipulate your emotions or perception. The chosen one's silence is not weakness, it is strategy. You've learned that words can expose your plans, that speaking too soon can dilute your energy, and that the loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. While others seek attention, you study patterns. You pay attention to tone, energy, and the spaces between words where truth hides. You observe the way people move, the contradictions between what they say and what they do, and you use that knowledge to make precise decisions. Your power doesn't come from dominance or manipulation, it comes from awareness and restraint. That's what makes your presence so magnetic. People feel like you're always holding something back, like there's a depth to you that they can't quite reach. They sense that your silence isn't emptiness but calculation. It's the stillness before the move, the calm before the shift that changes everything. When others are busy explaining themselves, defending their egos, or trying to prove their worth, you're analyzing the situation from a higher level. You're not emotionally entangled in every drama or conflict because you see it for what it is: energy trying to provoke reaction. You've mastered the art of watching without absorbing, of listening without agreeing, of understanding without needing to respond. This is the mark of the chosen one's intelligence. It's not about knowing everything, it's about knowing when to act, when to hold back, and when to disappear. Every choice you make carries purpose. Every silence you keep protects power. That kind of control terrifies people who thrive on chaos. They can't stand that they can't read you, that you don't give them the emotional reaction they crave, that you stay steady while they unravel. Your intelligence shows in how you move differently from the crowd. You don't chase validation, because you understand that needing approval gives others control over your sense of self. You don't over-explain your decisions, because you've learned that people who truly understand you don't need explanations, and those who misunderstand you do so intentionally. Your quietness becomes your shield. In a world addicted to noise, stillness is your rebellion. You listen longer than you speak, and that allows you to see patterns that others miss. You don't interrupt energy flow, you let people reveal who they are through their words and behavior. By the time they think they've figured you out, you've already understood their motives, their insecurities, and their limits. People often mistake your calmness for indifference, but in reality, it's self-mastery. You've learned that emotions are powerful signals, but they should never become steering wheels. You process everything internally, filtering it through intuition before reacting. That inner discipline gives you an advantage in every situation. When others rush into conflict, you wait. When they gossip or overreact, you calculate your response. You understand that silence is often louder than confrontation. It forces people to confront their own projections, to question what you might be thinking, to wonder what you truly know. This psychological tension builds your authority without you having to assert it. You control outcomes not through force, but through awareness. This kind of power doesn't go unnoticed. People feel it even if they can't name it. They sense that your intelligence operates differently. It's not intellectual arrogance, it's energetic precision. You pick up on the unsaid, the unseen, the subtle shifts in energy that most ignore. You can tell when someone's flattery hides jealousy, when someone's kindness is strategic, when someone's loyalty is temporary. You gather all of this information silently and adjust your movements accordingly. That's why you rarely find yourself caught off guard. People wonder how you always seem to be prepared, how you anticipate changes before they happen. It's because you're always watching, always learning, always aligning with truth instead of noise. The chosen one's strategic thinking is born from pain, from lessons learned the hard way. You didn't just wake up with wisdom, it was forged through betrayal, isolation, and self-reflection. You've seen what happens when you trust too easily or speak too soon. You've experienced the cost of letting emotions control your actions. So now, you move differently. Every silence, every boundary, every withdrawal is a result of wisdom earned through experience. People might not understand that your quietness is a product of clarity, not confusion. You've simply realized that not every battle deserves your energy, not every person deserves your attention, and not every truth needs to be spoken aloud. Your strategic nature isn't about manipulation, it's about alignment. You understand the timing of life, that sometimes, patience is the most powerful move. You know how to step back to let others reveal themselves. You let situations unfold naturally, allowing truth to surface without force. That's why opportunities seem to find you. While others chase outcomes, you position yourself to receive them. You think in terms of energy, not ego. You don't need to prove your intelligence through arguments or debates. Your results, your aura, and your silence speak for themselves. You've learned that true wisdom isn't about showing what you know, it's about knowing when to show nothing. People gossip about your silence because it makes them uncomfortable. They wonder why you don't share every detail of your life, why you don't react when provoked, why you don't explain yourself when misunderstood. What they don't realize is that your restraint is your power. You don't move emotionally, you move intentionally. Every action you take has purpose, and every inaction has meaning. This confuses people who operate from impulse. They can't predict you, and that unpredictability is what makes them call you dangerously intelligent. They see that you hold knowledge but use it wisely. They sense that you're aware of things you never say. You make people reflect, sometimes unwillingly, on their own lack of control. Your quietness carries an energy that demands respect. It's the aura of someone who doesn't waste words or energy. You've become someone who doesn't fight for attention, yet all eyes turn when you walk into a room. You don't try to impress anyone, yet people feel compelled to understand you. Your intelligence doesn't come from the desire to dominate, it comes from the need to stay aligned with truth, purpose, and peace. While others exhaust themselves in meaningless noise, you remain the still point in the chaos, silent, strategic, and untouchable. When the gossip spreads that the chosen one is dangerously intelligent, what's really happening is a reflection of fear. People begin to realize they cannot manipulate or deceive someone who sees too clearly. They sense that you operate from a level of awareness that doesn't rely on surface appearances. You read energy, not just words. You feel intentions, not just hear promises. Your intelligence doesn't shout, it whispers with certainty, and that quiet knowing makes others uneasy. They can sense that you understand things they've never spoken aloud. You notice patterns, energies, and emotional shifts that most people miss. The more you awaken, the more others project their insecurities onto you. They gossip not because you've done anything wrong, but because they can't define you. You've become too mysterious to fit into their comfort zone. They call you dangerous because you are not fooled by their illusions, because you don't fall for the traps of ego and manipulation. You've reached a stage where you no longer react the way they expect. You used to defend yourself when people lied about you. You used to explain yourself when misunderstood. But now, you've learned that energy speaks louder than words. You let people talk. You let them reveal their true colors. You let truth unfold without forcing it. This calm confidence, this ability to remain unshaken while others gossip, makes them even more uneasy. They can't comprehend how you stay so composed while surrounded by chaos. They expected you to break, to defend, to seek validation. But instead, you rise higher. Your intelligence lies not in how much you know, but in how well you manage your energy and focus. You don't waste your power on proving your worth. You've realized that silence and time always reveal everything. People label what they can't control. When they see you move with clarity and precision, when they see that their opinions don't influence your actions, they start to whisper. They create stories to fill the gaps in what they don't understand. They can't access your mind, so they try to define it through rumors. They might call you calculating or cold, but deep down, they know your awareness is what unsettles them. You walk into a room, and energy shifts. Your very presence changes the frequency, and people either feel inspired or intimidated. That's the power of someone who truly sees. The gossip is simply their way of coping with the discomfort of your light. They sense that you are not to be underestimated, that your mind holds more than you reveal, and that realization breeds both fascination and fear. You've learned to observe quietly. When people gossip about you, you don't fight it, you study it. You understand that gossip is a mirror, revealing how others feel about themselves, not about you. When people talk about your intelligence being dangerous, it's because they've encountered a version of you that sees through their facades. You've become someone who doesn't play games but knows every rule. You've mastered the art of reading between the lines, and that awareness makes you powerful in silence. You're not looking for validation anymore, you're protecting your peace. You know when to walk away, when to stay silent, and when to act. Your stillness is your strategy, your detachment is your armor, and your understanding is your weapon. You've become the type of person others can't easily deceive. They sense it immediately, the way you look at them, the way your energy remains steady while theirs shifts nervously. You ask no questions, but you already know the answers. You don't need to confront lies, your awareness exposes them naturally. People who once underestimated you start realizing that you've been seeing through them all along. The same people who called you naive now whisper that you're dangerous, not because you've changed, but because you've awakened. You've outgrown their illusions, and that threatens their sense of control. They gossip to regain a sense of power, to feel relevant in a story where you've already moved on. There's a reason the chosen ones often walk alone. When your intelligence becomes illumination, it separates you from the crowd. You can't unsee what's false. You can't pretend not to notice the deception or the patterns of manipulation. You move with intention, and that makes people who operate in chaos feel exposed. They wonder how you know what you know. They wonder why their tricks don't work on you anymore. But what they don't realize is that your intelligence was sharpened through experience. You've been betrayed, misunderstood, and underestimated. You've spent time in silence, observing and reflecting, until your awareness became your protection. You no longer react emotionally, you respond energetically. And that's what sets you apart. As the gossip grows, so does your inner strength. You begin to understand that the more awakened you become, the less people will understand you. You realize that being misunderstood is part of the price of clarity. The chosen one's path is not to be liked but to embody truth, even when it unsettles others. You stop explaining your intentions because your energy speaks for itself. You stop chasing acceptance because your focus is on alignment. Every rumor, every whisper, every misunderstanding becomes fuel for your growth. You start to see that their gossip is proof of your impact. People don't talk about what doesn't matter. You've become unforgettable because you embody what they fear and admire at the same time, awareness that cannot be manipulated. And so, while they talk, you evolve. You stay grounded in purpose. You let their words dissolve into the silence you've mastered. You understand that gossip cannot touch truth, that rumors cannot erase authenticity. Your intelligence is not dangerous to those who are genuine, it's dangerous only to those who live in deceit. The world will always fear what it cannot control, and your mind is something they will never fully understand. But that's the beauty of being the chosen one. You are not here to be understood, you are here to awaken. You are not here to fit in, you are here to stand apart. Let them talk, because while they whisper your name, your light continues to expand, your wisdom deepens, and your path becomes clearer than ever before.